of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll get the meeting started. Moving on, first order of business would be public announcements, which details may be found at www.fairfieldme.com. First order is in December. Council begins reviewing appointment applications for upcoming volunteer positions on local boards and committees, including the following: Budget Committee, Planning Board, Land Use Board of Appeals, Economic Development Committee, Board of Assessment Review, Voter Registration Board of Appeals. If you are interested in serving your community, please complete an appointment application form available online at the town office. Appointments are made by the town council's January annual organizational meeting. Number 2, the 2023 dog licensing tags are available at the town office. Current licenses expire on December 31st. All right, Christmas at Lawrence Public Library will be number 3. They will feature December 1st to January 3rd, lighted Harry Potter Village on display. December 1st from 3 to 6 p.m., Harry Potter drop-in event. December 12th to December 23rd, holiday gift tree for children while supply lasts. December 15th from 1 to 3 p.m., holiday refreshments for adult patrons. Number 4, starting this year, Fairfield Police Cops Care for Kids program will now be in person at the Fairfield Community Center December 15 and 16. Further details available later in the month via social media. Number 5, non-emergency town services will be closed on November 24th and 25th in holiday observance. Excuse me. Public hearings, there are none. Third order of business, public comments. Limited to 3 minutes. Members of the public may speak to the council or request an opportunity to speak on a specific item that is on the agenda, or may email comments to council at info@fairfieldme.com by 4 p.m. the day of the meeting. Submitted content may be read aloud at this time. Was there any submitted content?
I have one thing that did come in that's not necessarily public comment. It would be from Dan Kissinger and come up under your scheduled event on the agenda.
Okay, we'll just move on.
Everybody has a copy. It came in after the distribution and the resending of the agenda and stuff.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, fourth order of business, reports from staff and committees. Town manager report.
Okay, so on October 27th, I attended the first Park Executive Board meeting. We are about to close on 2 more lots, hopefully this week or Monday, so that will be 6 lots sold in First Park in the last 6 months, so that'll be really good. November 1st, I met with the Weltons to discuss their land purchase request that they had on Route 201 that you talked about at your last meeting, and the next steps with that. So they'll be reviewing those pieces and getting back to us. And also on the 1st, we had an economic community development meeting, which I'm sure Councilor Thibodeau will report on to you. November 2nd, I met with the Growth Council and KVCOG to discuss some mapping needs that the town has regarding Mill Island Park. KVCOG, now that they are back to full staff, will be working on creating those maps for the town, so to help with our design process as we work through that. November 9th, I attended the Central Maine Growth Council annual meeting that was held at Bricks down at the Hathaway building. The 10th, I attended MMA's LPC committee meeting. The 15th, I attended KVCOG's board meeting. The 16th, which was today, Growth Council had their regular board meeting. For projects, we've had, just to update the full council, the last 4 lots on Industrial Road have sold to a developer. I have been told that a warehouse is going to be placed, is what's planned to be at that location. They'll be using all 4 of those lots. and from what I've gathered, it will be a staging area for solar projects, so that folks, if they have to have their stuff delivered, it will be there and close enough to be shipped around the entire state. CMP was seen working this week on Monday, connecting the solar landfill project to the grid, so that's good progress. Gregory's is waiting on their final inspection on the industrial road by the road commissioner so that the credit enhancement agreement can start, which was supposed to start in the month of November. And that should happen next week when the road commissioner returns from vacation. So all good things.
Good, okay. Town clerk election report.
So it was a very busy, high turnout election. The statistics are changing every day that all the clerks are updating their voter registration, but as of today, for that date, there was 4,556 registered voters in the town of Fairfield, and the number of voters that cast ballots for this election was 2,782 for a 61% turnout.
Wow.
Absentee requests for 892. And the returned and cast was 865, so that's actually really good. And total voter registration, new voters and updates was 163. We had new voters, 135, changes to current voters, 28. Spoiled ballots, usually there's less than 5 per election, but with ranked choice voting, there were 44, so that does take time to process and document. But everything went very well. We had, all of our candidates were well-mannered, well-behaved, and we really appreciated that. Wow. Everyone steps up in the town. It's an honor to lead our team. We have some really great people that have stepped up to volunteer. Excellent. And I just want to give a shout out to Deputies Andrew Weber and Sheila Patel, who covered my office during an absence. They did a fantastic job.
Right.
Everybody pitches in, so.
Yep.
Team Fairfield, job well done.
You had enough people at the voting pools to cover everything?
Oh, we did, yes. Yeah, we had a great team.
Great.
Cross-training continues.
Yep, okay. All right, committee reports. Yes, Stephanie.
Well, the Economic Committee met, and if you haven't noticed, the survey is up and running on Mill Island Park, and it's using QR codes. And if you go down to the park, you'll see the QR code for each zone on a stake. You can take your phone, snap a picture of the QR code, and then since the weather has gotten colder, go home and do the survey at home. And that works much better than having to battle any wind or inclement weather. Yep. So the survey is going to be running until December 6th. This is a Friday. I'm sorry, December 2nd. The Economic Committee is meeting on December 6th to discuss the results and make further plans. But what we are planning on is sometime in later January, having a public kind of open house where people can come in and we can finalize all of the details that have been gathered from the surveys. And this is going to help us to create that first draft that we will be needing for our waterfront plan. So those of you who have filled out the survey already and sent it or done the hard copy, I thank you, and I'm hoping that we can get at least 130 for this particular survey, so up from the previous survey that we've done for the waterfront plan. So
right,
that's it.
And you can pick up the survey at the town office
If you want a hard copy.
if you want a hard copy.
Yeah.
And I suspect then just hand in a hard copy.
Right, to bring it to the window at the town office,
Right.
and you'll be all set.
Okay.
Yep.
Very good. Any other committee reports? Okay, being none, we'll move on to the fifth order of business, which is the consent agenda. Now, these items are considered routine or standard business and therefore will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member so requests prior to consideration of this portion of the agenda, in which event the item would be removed from the consent agenda and considered next on the agenda. So we've got item 22-121, order that the town council hereby waives the reading of and accepts the minutes for meeting 2022-18 held on October 26th, 2022. Item 22-128, order that the town council hereby approves a treasurer's warrant number 71, general fund, in the amount of $473,730 $1,000,000.44, not limited to but including MSAD 49, Kennebec Water District, Motor Vehicle, and Morton Salt.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussions? All in favor? Carries full. Moving to the sixth order of business. Take action on the following items of business as read by Council Chair. Item 22-129. Ordered that due to a resignation and in accordance with the town charter, the town council hereby considers applications for council appointment for a term set to expire at the January organizational meeting in 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion.
Well, we had, I think it was 8 people apply for this application, and I'm so impressed with the caliber of the people that did apply. A range of abilities. Some have already had council experience. Some have been involved on other committees for the municipal government. I mean, it's just amazing, and I'm very, very pleased with the amount of people that did apply, so it's healthy, very healthy.
Yeah, I think I would second that. And look through each application and resume, they all are positive, and I could pick out a positive thing about each one, and knowing them, a lot of them personally, can't go wrong. And
Yeah.
talk about each one as we go, but
Yep.
yeah, I can pick out a positive characteristic for each person that I know, and I think it speaks to the involvement, which is great.
Yep.
And what I wanted to do on the people that have put in chair is from Maxwell Kenny, who said, I wanted to reach out and let you know, after a lot of thought and careful consideration, I would like to withdraw my application for appointment from the town council, So Maxwell has withdrawn his application.
Did we have anybody that wanted to speak?
One of the things that you did have is I did receive late this afternoon an email from Dan Kissinger. He apologized that he was not going to be able to attend tonight's meeting due to sickness. He does have a statement for introduction and consideration. I have been a resident of Fairfield for over 10 years and feel more at home in the community than ever, even my childhood home. I'm interested in serving on the council to give back, and I'm seeking to invest in the community in this way. I have been observing the council the past few years and admire the example of service. It is exciting to see new business coming to town, such as Process Solutions, VDS, Meridians, and many more. I would like to be part of helping many more local businesses add not only to the industrial area, but I would like to see revitalization downtown through development of unused buildings and lots, as well as finally seeing Mill Street Park being invested in and utilized. And that's
Okay.
it, that's all we have. I think everything else that had come in, there was an email from Bonnie Dyer, but you did receive that in your
Yes.
packets.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Open that up for discussion. From the council.
So I think you could look at each candidate and you have one who's served in roles in Waterville and has run for legislative office. You have somebody like Max, who, even though he's pulled out now, is a younger person who wants to be involved, but I think is great to have that demographic on our
Right.
council potentially.
Well,
So
he has, yeah.
Yeah, he's pulled out, but I think that it speaks to the group. So you pick out a positive, having somebody younger involved. You can speak to somebody like Kurt Pease, who is very involved in public safety and was passionate about it. You can, so there are many great candidates there. I guess the one thought that I would have would, I think along the lines of looking at Larry McDonald as one who took the time to run for office, made a personal investment in time and money to try to gain a council seat, and is invested in the town. I don't know him well personally, but I have talked to him since he's been attending meetings, and I think at least there's something to be said for that.
Mm-hmm. And I agree with you on that as well, for the time and the effort that he did put in, and it's amazing how many of these people have such good business backgrounds.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that is so needed on the council. And Larry, as a business owner in the town, has the business sense that would really help with the council, I feel. Michael?
And I think, someone that has not been involved in, the workings of the town government would probably bring a fresh set of eyes to things that are going on. And I think, where Larry had gone out and run, and he put a lot of time and effort into it, and he's never been involved in local government. He hasn't been on any boards or any committees that I was aware of.
None that I'm
No.
aware of.
I didn't think I've read anything on that. I think it's an opportunity for a business person that has a vested interest in the town of Fairfield to see how things are done in local government.
And we don't know how this is going to pan out tonight, but it's really important for everyone who did apply to know that if you don't make it tonight, there'll be 2 more positions opening next year for a 3-year term. So keep that in mind if your interest is there, because it's a really hard decision for us 4 to go and say, let's do this person. But I thank everybody that did apply.
There's actually only one position open next year, which is
One.
actually this position that you're filling.
Oh, that's okay. Next year.
This position already,
Okay,
so
right.
Mark's term was set to expire in for January 2024
2023.
anyway.
Okay, so
So
it's just
that was
one
already
position.
only going to be a 1-year term.
Yeah.
And when you do the appointment for filling a vacancy, you only do a 1-year term, and they just happen to coincide that it's the same exact thing.
Okay.
Yep.
And I would speak to some of the other opportunities in some of the other boards, whether it's planning or the other various boards, to be involved. So those will be becoming available as
Yep.
well.
Budget committee,
Budget committee is a
Yeah.
big one, big one on that.
and that's coming soon.
And is there any on the planning board?
So when Peter takes office in January, there'll be a planning board alternate that is available. And also, you were on the budget committee, and he'll, but I think you come off. I think you were still supposed to be on there, like your term was a little bit longer. He'll come off from that. So there'll be budget committee vacancies as well.
Right.
Yep,
How many budget committee vacancies are we anticipating?
3.
3?
Okay.
3.
And the
So she
economic...
says.
I saw 1.
So 3.
Turn it this
She
way
said
next
3.
time. Yeah, it works, all right.
I've got the spreadsheet up. I can answer more questions. I am compiling that vacancy list for you, but I haven't finished it.
Okay. Are we ready to say individually who we would like? or-
Would you?
Yeah, John, any thoughts on your end?
Well, no, is there anybody that would like to speak? If they would, they can get up. We have 3-minute talk.
I'm Nathaniel White. I live at 6 King Street, right up the road. So I'd still be on the city council in Waterville, but I inherited my grandfather's house in 2018, and I moved there. Fairfield was my second home. I spent a lot of time at my grandfather's. He lived there for 91 years, actually. He was born in that house. His parents owned it prior to him, so this whole neighborhood is like a second home to me. In 2020, I ran for state representative of District 108, which was Fairfield, Mercer, and Smithfield, and I did not win, but it was a great experience. But yeah, I served on the city council in Waterville from 2014 till 2018. Prior to that, I was on the planning board. Prior to that, I was an election warden, Central Maine is my home. I have a degree from Thomas College in education, just recently got my master's in business administration, and I teach 7th grade science right now, so full-time. So there was an opening, so I wanted to come.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. White?
Not at all.
Okay,
Just welcome
you're good.
back.
Thank you.
And just one thing.
Yes.
So if you're watching us via Zoom and you had submitted your resume, letter of application, that kind of stuff, and want to say anything, if you could just go down to the reactions button and raise your hand, or at least turn your camera on and raise your hand if you have a camera, I can see that and we'll be able to call on you for that. But we do have
Yep.
some folks on here. I believe Adam is on, George Hofgren is on, an iPhone 208, and I'm not sure who that is, so. Not seeing any hand raising.
Okay. Yes.
Oh, wait. We have something.
Hi, Town Council. My name is Max Kenny. I live on Ohio Hill Road in Fairfield. As the council knows, I submitted an application for appointment to the vacant Town Council seat. I submitted this application with hopes of joining the council and making a difference in my hometown. Today, I withdrew my application because I believe Larry McDonald should be appointed to the open position. Larry is a lifelong Fairfield resident who understands what it takes to run a small business in Maine and, more importantly, in Fairfield. I believe Larry will work towards achieving our common goals with an open mind and willingness to listen and work with residents. Out of all the applicants, Larry was the only one to run for election, putting his own time and money into a campaign. I urge you, as the town council, to appoint Larry McDonald to the vacant seat.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Max. May continue.
Okay. Well, I personally, I'm going to vote for Larry McDonald.
All right,
To
we
fill
need
this
to,
seat.
so you're nominating.
Well, if we're ready, I will nominate Larry McDonald to take the vacant position for the next year.
Okay.
Second that?
What we will
Or do we
do
just
is...
take a vote?
Yeah, what we will do, I guess, is take a vote. If there's any other...
Well, we had the motion and a second for the item, so
Okay.
we're in.
Then I will go to that fact of, and everybody, whoever's in favor of Larry McDonald, raise your hand. Vote. Carried. So Larry McDonald will be,
Larry's
And he's
here.
not here.
he's not here.
And Mr. White, thank you for coming. Max, thank you for coming.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. White.
Appreciate it. And don't forget that there's other positions that you
There is a
can be
lot of
involved
other
with.
positions that are wide open, and we need them filled desperately, yes.
Definitely.
All right. Then we'll move on to item 22-130. Order that the town council hereby approves the purchase of a 2023 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 to replace the 2018 Ford Explorer for the amount of up to $47,000 to be expended from the Police Capital Equipment Reserve account. We need, you come up and talk, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
First of all, I've got some questions.
You don't even have a motion and a second to discuss this.
Oh,
Right. We have to
okay,
have a
I'll make a
motion.
motion then.
I'll second it.
Okay.
right.
Get a little ahead of ourselves.
Now we can discuss it.
Okay, all right. What is the mileage on this vehicle that's being replaced?
The one that's being replaced is 78,000. It's the supervisor's car. It'll go into a backup vehicle. The current backup vehicle has 134,000.
Are you trading that in, or are you going to put it out for bid?
We've been talking about putting one of the vehicles out to bid. We're just nervous that if we have a vehicle that gets destroyed in an accident, there's nothing out there to replace it with. So I don't know if we'll be putting them out to bid immediately or waiting to see how the winter goes.
Okay.
We can put it out to bid, but if we lose another vehicle, we won't be able to replace it.
My only question was, were you going to do a trade-in or go out for bid?
I wasn't asking for a trade-in because we just get horrible prices when we ask for trade-ins.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Do you have a question, Matt?
No, I think that, so is that reading through your literature, it sounds like, again, you're worried about, because of the shortage of appropriate vehicles, we're making making this move. But I think, I guess this for clarification, kind of on schedule, mileage-wise, and everything else.
We are on schedule. We'll order it now. I have not requested the funds that we will need to upfit the vehicle, just because the price was exorbitant, and we don't even know if we're going to get the vehicle that is ordered.
Understood.
This is on order through Chevy. It's scheduled to be shipped, but we received a call from the dealership last fall. I spoke to the town manager and said, they had vehicles available, but we had to tell them right then that we'd take one. And we said, yes, we'll take a Tahoe. Just put our name on it. And they've canceled that order. So that was scheduled to be delivered in November. The Ford, as I said, the Ford Explorers that we're replacing now, the price of those went up 23%, I think, in 1 year. So it's an astronomical jump in price.
And just to clarify, by saying, yes, we'll take one, does not mean we will actually give it. I was giving approval for us to purchase it. That
Correct,
has to come back to the council. I was like, that's a little bit more expensive than what I can approve.
There's such a vehicle shortage that he said, if you guys put your name on this vehicle and then you go to council and council says you don't want it, there are dozens of other towns that'll take it. So they weren't worried about us purchasing the vehicle or not. We just gave them a notice saying, we would like our name on one of the 6 that he ordered. Chevrolet canceled all 6 of them. So.
Well, and I'm going to, I know we have this system, every 5 years you replace a vehicle.
Correct.
And I've said this before, I really think that we should extend it another year, go to 6 years. There is low mileage on this one, that's the 78,000. The reserve one is 134,000. It still is running and
Yep.
doesn't have any major problems. The town has their own mechanic that can fix it. The capital equipment reserve has $141,653.30 in it. And I think that money in itself, right now, could be spent on something else that might need attention, like maybe something over there at the police department, the building itself.
I cannot deny that we have several of our in-cruiser video systems that are down. We can't afford to replace them right now. We have
Yeah.
some tasers that are down, and we have a $43,000 bill coming up for the software that we purchased.
And I feel that those are more necessary for everybody involved, all the police officers. McDonald's is now paying $15 an hour. It's a fact of life. Salaries and insurances are still going up. I'm thinking of the budget already and what we're going to be asking of our citizens. I really think with that. And I don't want to vote for a new vehicle at this time. I want us to save our money and see what's happening with other aspects of our police department and what's needed. And I think that right now we can get by with what we have for vehicles.
Understood.
Yeah, and having that discussion, in my head, I have to almost go the same way, and I totally respect the department, I respect the heck out of you, and I think I'd actually rather see that money being spent on the software system and potentially making sure our video systems are up to par, and maybe, take a year to hold off on the vehicle change. That's just, and who knows what the next year will bring. So looking at that budget change. So.
That's a lot of money for a vehicle.
It's unbelievable amount of money for a vehicle. It was shocking when I saw it, and that's why we...
That's crazy money.
Yep.
In your honest assessment, are we in decent shape right now as vehicles go?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, we are.
all right. We don't...
This is part of a yearly purchase plan.
And I know next year, interest rates are going to continue to climb throughout 2023.
My sole concern is just being able to get vehicles next year.
I think we might be in better shape next year. As interest rates climb, demand is going to fall. And as demand goes down, the prices are going to come down because nobody will be able to afford them.
Like us right now. I
Yeah, like
understand
us
that.
right now, where this is not the time to buy a new vehicle, it's not the time to buy a house. Last night, I was listening to a market report, and they said the average individual buying a house today needs to be making $107,000 a year to make the average house payment. It's nuts.
Yep.
If we were in dire straits for a vehicle, I wouldn't hesitate to say, yes, we need to spend the money and get it. If we're not in desperate needs right now, I really would lean toward, let's wait a little bit if we can. If you come back to the council next month and go, we just had one totaled, we need something,
Might not.
then that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
We'll have to bite the bullet and pay the long dollar. But if
Well,
we don't
we're
have to
we're
right now.
saving out the older vehicles for that specific reason.
Yeah.
Just in case, so. Okay.
No,
Michelle, you're our town manager. Any thoughts budgetary-wise and moving forward?
Well, it doesn't affect the budget, but.
Yeah,
it's
but
a,
she's the one.
Right, but it does affect, so long haul. So one, remember, well, actually, Matt, you wouldn't remember because you weren't here when we started this process of actually trying to rebuild
This is
our
true.
capital reserve account
Yep.
and really trying to make sure that we were putting these vehicles on the proper rotation. So, one, I agree, this is a substantial amount of money for a vehicle, especially when we're looking at the fact that the last two Dodges that we had with that program, we've actually made money on every single one of them that we have purchased because with the resale and the value with all of that. So
Yep.
this is a tricky situation. Like the chief said, it's kind of a crapshoot because he could come back tomorrow and say, we totaled two vehicles and we need one and now we're not on the list and we can't get one. But I also agree sometimes waiting could be better. But I think what you're going to find this year when we go into the budget is we're going to have some tough choices to make because while I understand and appreciate the cost has gone up for every single individual in this community and all of the communities and beyond, our costs have gone up too, and there are services that people expect and we can't provide them for free. So there's going to be a lot of serious conversations when it comes to the budget this year about just exactly what it is that the community wants from its municipal government. So we're still in good shape, you know what I mean? If we had to, worst case scenario, you go look somewhere for another, maybe somebody else's used cruiser that they've tossed aside because their mileage is high, but those vehicles just don't exist. So that becomes the problem and the concern that we're worried about. But at this point, like the chief said, if his fleet is in good enough condition that he feels that it's fine, okay for right now to wait, then waiting sounds if as long as the prices go down, but we don't know what the market's going to be. I do know, so like this bid comes from Quirk because they have the state bid. I did speak with Chris Gauntz at Central Maine Motors last Wednesday, actually, about this same exact issue, and they can't get vehicles, and they're in the same boat, not just for fleet-type vehicles, and they typically don't participate in our police purchase because that's just not the kind of vehicle that they carry, but they just, even just residential use, regular individual use, vehicles are difficult to find, so it's just something to keep in mind as we go forward.
now I saw up at Heights, they had like 8 or 10 state police vehicles. Couple of months ago, 2 or 3 months ago, they had a bunch in there that they was turning around.
Interesting.
So it might be worth a call up to talk to Walter.
Would you, would this be, should we take this and just table it at this point?
So right now, you've made a motion, so there's a motion here that, and where this says that you would approve, so what you would do is you would, if you're not going to do this, then you would just vote it down.
Oh,
right?
okay.
All in favor would be a no.
All right,
and
well, I didn't know
opposed
if we
would
just
be a
wanted to
yes.
table it and then leave it.
So, no, because what's going to happen is that they were only keeping us on a list for this vehicle until tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so he's going to notify Quirk what your decision was tonight, and this vehicle
Gotcha.
is off the table. It's not even on the table for us anymore.
Okay.
So,
Well, then, in that case, I will call for a vote and say, everybody in favor of the purchase, raise your hand. Everybody not in favor of the purchase, raise your hand. So it is not in favor. And it will be passed. All right. And we'll move on to seventh order of business, which is council workshop and other business. Discuss other council business. We can start with Matt.
Just take the few minutes to, I think, just to thank Christine and her team publicly. It's a long day on the election day, and I think to run it smoothly and effectively and without any drama is something to be commended. So I appreciate all the hard work that you and your team do. I think everybody should recognize that.
Thank you.
Otherwise, yeah.
Great group.
I think I also want to thank Stephanie for her hard work on moving Mill Island forward.
Thank you.
So that's some great stuff that's happening, and I think it definitely get your surveys done and contribute to that. So,
thank you.
And also, I just want to thank the people that were involved as applicants to fill the open position on the council, because it's nice to see the involvement, where in some years it's been trying to pull teeth to get somebody to be fill a vacancy. So I want to thank everybody that way.
Michael, got anything?
I think Matt covered pretty near everything, but I would like to say thank you to the Public Works Department for a job very well done in keeping the roads cleared. I came through the town tonight, and everything was sanded and salted and free of snow and ice. I can't say that for some of the other surrounding municipalities, but it was great to see that ours were above standard.
Stephanie?
I'd just like to thank people who voted for me and for their vote of confidence, and for those that didn't vote for me, I hope over the next 3 years I can gain your confidence. So thank you very much.
No, it was a good job, and I think everybody pretty much covered everything for me. It really isn't a whole lot more to go on. Our next regular meeting of the Fairfield Council will be on Wednesday, December 14th, 2022, and that will be held as a hybrid meeting via Zoom in council chambers, 6:30 a.m. At this,
No,
yes.
no, I will not be there at 6:30 a.m.
Oh, darn.
neither.
unless you have breakfast.
Okay. Well, I was just seeing if you were paying attention.
Oh, well, you caught me this time.
Okay. At this time, we will recess and sign all documents that require the signature of the council members.
So moved.
Second.
We are in recess.